Welcome, detectives, to Tudor Mansion. Thank goodness you've arrived. There has been a murder and we need you to solve it. Before you interview the suspects, I'll tell you everything you need to know. Tudor Mansion was the residence of the illustrious Sir Hugh and his nephew Edward Body. I served as butler for both Sir Hugh and Mr. Body. Incidentally, my name is Mr. Butler. If you think it's strange that my name is Mr. Butler, and that I am a butler, well, frankly, my dear, I do not give a damn. I was so devastated when Sir Hugh passed away that I lost my composure and nearly shed a single tear. Mr. Body then inherited Tudor Mansion. Mr. Body then invited 6 guests for supper. As with everything else regarding Mr. Body, why he wanted to host a gathering, much less with these guests, is information he shared with no one. But he certainly had something in mind by inviting Miss Scarlet, Mr. Green, Mrs. Peacock, Professor Plum, Dr. Orchid, and Colonel Mustard to his home. I escorted each guest to the dining room as they arrived. At 7:45, all of the guests were seated and waiting. But Mr. Body had yet to appear. I informed the guests that I would ring the dinner bell precisely at 8, and they were free to wander the mansion as they pleased. The guests dispersed, and I attended to my duties. At 8 o'clock, as I rang the dinner bell, a loud scream was heard. Everyone rushed here, namely the main hallway. We were horrified to discover Mr. Body had been murdered, right here. Taking his pulse, I declared him dead. I noticed his watch had stopped at 7:57. This only happens when a person has been murdered. Mr. Body's death was no accident. I immediately isolated the guests from each other, locking them into the rooms from which they'd each emerged. I couldn't have them walking around free when any of them could be the murderer. I rang the police, asking them to send their best detectives. When I returned to the hallway, Mr. Body's body was gone. I've been unable to locate it. And now, detectives, you've arrived with all of your detective brilliance. I shall escort you to each of the rooms where the suspects wait.